Now the history here is really clear. 60-40 has shot the lights out. As a finance professor, I am proud that a fellow finance professor, Nobel laureate Harry Markowitz, created something so powerful and effective. Over the last half century, what we've seen is about 9% annual returns for 60-40, and only once in half a century have we had a year where the 60-40 lost double digits, which was 08, and even that year, basically, you got it all back the next year. So 60-40 has been pretty darn low risk, pretty darn high return. 9% a year for a lifetime gets you 1,000 times your money. It's been amazing. What's the problem? The problem is going forward, the future is going to look nothing like the past. First, what are the bonds going to return? The long bond is paying less than 2%. So if you hold the longest of long bonds, you'll make 2%. If you hold shorter bonds, you'll probably make less, right? What about stocks? Stocks are priced to return about 5% a year for the next 30 years. I have no idea what stocks will do tomorrow, next month, next year, but I can tell you that over the next 30 years, they're going to make about 5% a year. If we get way more economic growth than expected, maybe they'll make 6 instead of 5. If we get less, maybe we'll make 4. If there's a boom right at the end of 30 years from now, maybe you'll get an extra % a year because that boom pushes price up 30%. You got to spread it over 30 years. So you're going to make about 5 in your stocks, 2 in your bonds. 60-40 weighted average gets you in the high 3s. And that's before you pay any asset manager fees, anything. Okay, so that is a long, long way from 9% a year. But that's not the scariest part. The scariest part is the risk. See, historically, when stocks crash, your bonds protected you. And if you get a stock crash, if people get afraid of the growth of the economy, that it's not going to be there, yeah, then bonds will protect you. But a stock crash is not what we're all afraid of right now. We're afraid of a bond crash. We're afraid the long bond is going to go from 2 to 3%. Bond math tells you that if the long bond goes from 2 to 3%, your bonds are going to lose 30% of their value. And your stocks are going to fall as much or more because the duration of the stock market is longer than the long bond. So you're going to lose 30+% on the whole 60-40 if we get that interest rate move that everybody feels. If there's a lot of inflation and the Fed has to act and push long bonds not to 7, not to anything crazy, just back to 3 like they were before the pandemic, then we're going to lose 1/3 of our money in 60-40.